I created the sketch based on the image I had already formed in my mind, using the finished painting as my final goal. I used a B2 pencil because it produces a soft line and allows me to easily vary the pressure, allowing me to find the form without fear of errors. I began with the general silhouette of the figure and the direction of the hand's movement. As gesture is key here, the character literally comes out to the viewer. Next, I outlined the oval of the head, the central axis of the face, and the line of the eyes, trying to immediately establish a tense, focused expression, without details, just the proportions. After that, I moved on to the hand in the foreground, deliberately making it larger, enhancing the effect of perspective. I used the eraser actively, not as a correction tool, but as part of the process. I removed excess, softened the lines, and refined the contours of the fingers and face. I gradually added hair, clothing, and key folds. I kept the sketch lively, not overly cluttered. The important thing was to preserve the energy of the gesture, not the perfect clarity of the lines. I approached the coloring with a clear understanding of the emotion I wanted to convey. I worked with acrylic paints using 3 brushes, a thin one for lines and details, a medium one for shapes, and a large one for the background and large splashes of color. I started with the background because it sets the overall mood of the entire work. I used a rich red applied with a wide brush. I kept the background almost flat, without complex gradients. It was important to me that it felt oppressive, heightened the drama, and contrasted with the character's skin and clothing. Then I moved on to the clothing. I chose a combination of violet and warm orange to create a clash of cool and warm. Using a medium brush, I laid down the main color masses without going straight into the shadow. After drying, I added darker shades for the folds, maintaining a conventional tone-avoiding photorealism. I painted the hair freely, almost impulsively. I used a mixture of brown and reddish tones, applying them in layers. The important thing here was not to draw every single hair, but to convey movement and chaos. I later added accent lines with a fine brush, emphasizing the shape of the hairstyle. The face is the most delicate stage. I worked with a fine and medium brush, layering light flesh tones. I intentionally left the skin almost flat in tone so that the gaze and lips would become the main points of attraction. I made the eyes cool with a violet tint, enhancing the sense of inner tension. Finally, I added small details, nails, finger contours, facial lines, and black outlines. This outline ties the entire work into a unified graphic style and emphasizes the form. I worked carefully here. One unnecessary movement could have ruined the balance. Critical assessment of the painting. What worked well? The strong gesture and perspective of the hand, it immediately draws the eye. The contrasting color choice makes the work emotional and memorable. The character's gaze conveys tension and direct contact with the viewer. The face is a bit flat in volume, and the shadows and highlights could have been enhanced. The transitions in the clothing are sharp in places, allowing for more nuance. The background is very aggressive. It's a plus for emotion, but it detracts from the depth. What could be added or changed? Subtle texture in the background without changing the color. More midtones in the skin. A little more variety in the hair tones. Style and audience. The work leans toward expressive illustration, neo-pop art, and comic book graphics. It might appeal to people who value emotion, direct expression, visual impact artists, fans of posters, alternative art, album covers, or social media.